Defining net cash flows for each type of project. 1. On cell B2 write 1%, the probability of finding a unicorn. 2. On cell C2 write 5%, the probability of finding a horse. Assume that we can define net cash flows for each one of the three types of projects. Net cash flows already consider upfront investment discounted at an appropriate rate. Unicorns may present most likely net cash flows of $1,000, ranging from a minimum of $500 to a maximum of $4,000. 3. On cells B3, B4, and B5, write the values 500, 1,000 and 4,000 respectively, to insert the parameters required to build probabilistic net cash flows of a unicorn. Horses generate most likely cash flows of $200, ranging from a minimum of $50 to a maximum of $500. 4. Therefore, on cells C3, C4, and C5, write the values 50, 200, and 500 respectively, to insert the parameters required to build probabilistic net cash flows of a horse. However, dogs average negative cash flows of $20, ranging from $5 to $50 of lost money. 5. Therefore, on cells D3, D4, and D5, respectively write the values -50, -20 and -5, to insert the parameters required to build probabilistic net cash flows of a dog. Notice that, since these are negative numbers, the minimum number corresponds to -50, whereas the maximum corresponds to -5. Using at-risk and its Monte Carlo simulation, it is possible to come up with a solution to this problem. At-risk mathematically computes and tracks many different possible future scenarios, then tells you the probabilities and risks associated with each different one. For example, we can compute the shape of a PERT distribution curve. A PERT is usually a good distribution as a starting point on probabilistic analysis since it incorporates the expert's opinion regarding the minimum, the most likely and the maximum net cash flows generated by a certain phenomenon. You do not need to know statistical parameters, such as standard deviation, in order to easily elicit a PERT. You only need an expert to provide to you, according to their opinion, those three required parameters. 6. Click on the Define Distribution icon to start selecting a PERT distribution for evaluating probabilistic net cash flows of any given unicorn. 7. Select the PERT distribution. The next dialog appears ready to insert the adequate parameters. 8. Click on the Assign Excel References as Arguments button in order to link the respective Excel cells. 9. With your cursor, respectively click on cells B3, B4, and B5. When finished, click on the upper right-hand corner of this small window to close it and return to the PERT's definition window. Notice that there are a couple of vertical lines that cut the distribution curve. By default, at-risk places both vertical lines leaving 5 percentage points to the left and to the right of such x-axis values. In other words, this is the 90% confidence interval. 10. On the first left delimiter, either drag it, for the number on top to equal 1000, or simply write 1000 on top of its value. 11. On the second right delimiter, do the same thing, substituting with 2000 for its value. The two vertical lines on top of the $1,000 and $2,000 value help in the interpretation of this density curve. There is a 28.1% probability that a unicorn will generate less than $1,000. There is also a 16.9% probability that a unicorn will generate more than $2,000. Therefore, there is a 55% chance that a unicorn will generate net cash flows ranging from $1,000 to $2,000. 12. Close this chart by clicking OK. Notice that this cell contains the following function, that looks like any other Excel function in its syntax. Equals risk PERT, B3, B4, B5. 13. Copy and paste this cell 2 cells to the right, in order to define distribution functions for net cash flows for horses and dogs. 14. Place your cursor on top of cell C6 and open this function with defined distributions. 15. Close this window with OK. Move your cursor to cell D6 and open this function with defined distributions, in order to look at net cash flows for a dog project. 16. To compare net cash flows of the three types of investments, click on the model window on top of it Risks ribbon. 17. Drag out the first thumbnail chart for unicorns. Then, go back to the model window, and, by dragging the second thumbnail first for horses, then the third thumbnail for dogs, you can overlay them on top of the first chart. Several details need to be changed to make this graph more readable. 18. Change its type to make it cumulative ascending. 19. Drag the wall on the left-hand side of the statistics table in order to be able to display the 3 respective columns for each one of the 3 net cash flows. 20. Place your cursor on top of the probabilistic bar and right-click. A context-sensitive dialog appears. 21. Choose Delimiter options. 22. Change the number of delimited curves to 3 and click on OK to exit. When compared using cumulative or percentile-less shaped curves, these 3 types of projects can be shown overlaid.